What's up, guys? It is RC Apologist here. Sorry there was a little bit of a delay or lag to get this volume down because there's some things going on in the Discord chat. But hey, what's up? We're live. RC Apologist here with Theological Discussion, and we're going to get right into it today. Alright. Let's get to this. We have a topic concerning Isaiah 42, Kedar, Sela, and Islamic apologetics at its worst. And, whoop, just got the signal that the computer was in low battery mode. We don't need that happening now, do we? Anyways, so to explain what's going on, what we're having here is an episode dedicated something to the topic on Isaiah 42. Now, I know I've already addressed Isaiah 42 in a video a while back. But when I did that, I thought I did my best to address all these points, but for some reason people are still like Marshall Mathers of, what's his name? Ayub. That's the name he goes by, is Marshall. He likes to suggest still that it's, for some odd reason, Kedar and Sela seals the deal. That means somehow Muhammad is being prophesied about in Isaiah 42. So, let's go over this, shall we? What we're having here is a verse that is usually referenced to in Isaiah by people like the Muslim apologists that try to find ways, again, to cling and squeeze Muhammad somehow into the picture. And the verses that we're going to be taking a look at, let's see, let me pull them up. I'm going to go ahead and just at least get Isaiah up and then get our Bible software on hand, so that way we can take a look at it together. Go to Isaiah 42. Scroll down to verse 11 is where they usually start with it. Now, they say it means, let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar doth inhabit, let the inhabitants of the rocks sing, let them shout from the top of the mountains, let them give glory unto the Lord and declare his praise. Now, it just simply says the rock in here, but what they'll go for is in some translations, like the ESV, for example, is where it says the inhabitants of Sela, which that's the word that is used in the Hebrew, which is concerning the phrase, is Sela in the Hebrew. And it does indeed refer to an actual place. So, that being said, we're going to go over why Marshall's interpretation, as well as various other Islamic apologists' interpretation of the passage, is deemed wrongful. And just letting anyone know that they can watch right now, because the Discord's having an interesting discussion, because this started because of Marshall trying to get some kind of thing going on, and now he's just calling a bunch of people dishonest. So let me just do this real quick. Alright. Now then, let's go over this, shall we? So, first of all, verse 10, Sing unto the Lord a new song, his praise from the end of the earth, ye that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof. So, we see sing unto the Lord a new song, which some people tried to suggest this means the Quran, because the Quran is sung, and it's a New Testament or something like that. But, of course, this makes no sense in light of the other passages that clearly talk about what it is that the Bible teaches. And in fact, David is said to sing a new song, but yet the Muslims claim, well, the new song refers to like Revelation, and David couldn't sing a new song because, well, he was given the Torah and all that kind of stuff. So there's all kinds of things that go wrong with this line of thinking. And in fact, when we do get to the New Testament, we do show and see where new song is being done. Alright, so verse 11, let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice. So we have that they're doing this thing here. The wilderness lift up their voice. Now, concerning where this is at, then we read this: the villages that Kedar doth inhabit. So concerning this, I would affirm that this is indeed referring to the Arabian area. But as some people are pointing out, and I don't know if this is true or not, that is indeed referring to nowhere concerning Mecca, but rather just the Arabian world in general. Now, I did bring up scholarly books on hand, so that way we can go over these. So I have two books: the Zondervan Atlas of the Bible, and then the Holman Illustrated Bible Dictionary. So, according to the Zondervan Atlas of the Bible, it says that Kedar is an Arabian tribe located to the south and southeast of Israel and is mentioned 10 times in the Old Testament. Alright. So, that is what we have concerning Kedar. Alright. Now, let's go take a look at Kedar in the Holman Illustrated Bible Dictionary. Now remember, all it says is Arabian. It does not say anything about Mecca. It doesn't say anything about that. And we're not even talking about what exactly is the usage of Kedar yet in this text. Just defining terms at the moment, so that way we know what we're dealing with. So we go over to the K here in the section of the Holman Illustrated Bible Dictionary. Alright. Kedar, and this is the definition of this is provided by the scholar Hugh Tobias, where he says it is a personal name meaning mighty or swarthy or black. The second son of Ishmael and a grandson of Abraham, the name occurs in the Bible presumably as a reference to a tribe that took its name from Kedar. Little concrete evidence or information is known about the group. However, apparently the descendants of Kedar occupied the area south of Palestine and east of Egypt, according to Genesis 25, verse 18. They may best be described as nomadic, living in tents, according to Psalm 120, verse 5, and Psalm 1:5. And they were raising sheep and goats, as well as recorded in Isaiah 67, Jeremiah 49, 28 to 29, as well as verse 32, as well as camels, which they sold as far away as Tyre, Ezekiel 27, verse 21. The Kedarites were led by princes, as recorded in Ezekiel 27:21, and were famous for their warriors, particularly their archers, Isaiah 21, verse 17. They evidently were of some importance during the time of Isaiah 21, verse 16. Now we're going to read that last one because that's an important one for us to take a look at. And I realized I kept having the Bible software and when I should have put it back on the thing, but at least we got a chance to go to the passage. So Isaiah chapter 21, verse 16. For thus saith the Lord, or for thus hath the Lord said unto me, within a year, according to the years of a hireling, and all the glory of Kedar shall fail. So does seem to be some importance there. And that's not the only passage where we see Kedar get mentioned in a certain context. Now, going back to the passage at hand, we have the village of the Kedar doth inhabit. We've defined that it's an area within an Arabian tribe, and that's pretty much what we're dealing with, is an Arabian tribe. So, in light of that context, let's also consult one more source for this, and that is to go to, well, actually we got several sources if we want to go to that. So we're going to pull up testing first of all to see if the more modern Mounce's dictionary can find this particular word. So we'll type it in as 6938 because it is Hebrew 6938. And then we're going to pull up the Brown Driver Briggs. So let me first of all pull us back open on our banner there. All right. Nothing in the live chat yet, so that's interesting. All right. Where is... Oh, yeah. I don't know why I'm getting messed up today on these numbers. So 6, 9, 3, 8. All right. And Strong's won't, or Mounces won't be able to pull it up for some reason, so we're going to the Vine's complete expository dictionary of the Old and the New Testament words. So let me pull it up. 6, 9, 3, 8. Okay. Now, Brown Driver Briggs defines the term of Kedar to mean a proper name of a people, and according to the usage in which Isaiah 42:11 is used to mean and indicate, it refers to a tribe of nomads in the Arabian desert. Now, some people try to point out, well, here's Kedar as in a description of a geographical region, but according to the scholarship, it seems so far to indicate that it is indeed referring to a tribe of a people in the Arabian desert. But again, we're just defining terms. We haven't said anything yet about what this means or what this indicates. Sorry, I'm just here. What's the topic of RCA stream? Well, according to as we have in the topic on the thing up there, some Muslims are still using Isaiah 42 to claim it's about Muhammad, and that it's a prophecy about the prophethood of Muhammad, because according to them, when it says, "Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar doth inhabit, and let the inhabitants of Sela," or known as the rock, sing, they believe that because of the usage of the word Kedar and Sela in the Hebrew, that this somehow refers to the Arabic area, to mean that this is where with this prophet that's being prophesied about will appear, that this is where indeed the prophet will show up, is somewhere in Arabia and will be born there, thus Muhammad. And so there was a conversation that took place with some Muslim who kept trying to drive this point on home, and we're just going over the scholarship first, because he claims that the scholarship would affirm his position, and then we're going to go over the whole thing about what it actually means concerning the text in its context, and what it's actually trying to tell us. Not anything about a location, but rather the extent of the influence of this person. All right. So, right now, trying to find a good place for us to put it. All right. I had something in mind, so who knows? Maybe this one will be it, because we got another source pulled up for another point later on. Now, we have Kedar now. And I'm going to put us back on the Theological discussion banner again. Let's look up the word for Sela, because this is where, for some reason, they believe that this is referring to a city in Arabia. And if we go take a look at some of these sources, we're first of all going to look at the Zondervan Atlas of the Bible, in which it says that Sela is, quote, an Edomite fortress captured by Amaziah, who renamed it Joktheel, as what is said in 2 Kings 14, verse 7. Now let's go there real quick before we continue the rest of that quote. 2 Kings, all right, chapter 14, verse 7. Make sure we're seeing it. He slew, and this is in reference to Amaziah, sorry, got a little twisted there. Amaziah slew of Edom in the Valley of Salt 10,000, and took Sela by war. and called the name of it Joktheel unto this day. So slew of Edom in the valley of the salt 10,000 and took Sela by war. So we know that because of this verse, Edom and Sela, which is the same word that is used in Isaiah 42, are connected to each other. So that's where we definitely get an indication here. Now let's go back to Isaiah 42. Just put us back on the map. So right there it says Isaiah chapter 42 verse 11, which is where we are addressing at the moment. And then the quote continues, mentioned an oracle concerning Moab, Isaiah 16:1, as well as in Isaiah 42:11, the marker of Amorite territory may or may not be the same place, according to Judges 1:36. Uncertain, possibly Es Sela, and they tries to give a description of the location, being 23 miles southeast of the south tip of Dead Sea in Jordan. El Bayara seems to be too far south for the Moabite associations for this place. So there's that we have concerning the location and the indication of Sela as a place, as a city, and it's related to Edom, not Arabia. So let's take a look now at the Holman Illustrated Bible Dictionary. And this doesn't say who the contributor is for this definition, so just know that it's from the Holman Illustrated Bible Dictionary. The place name meaning rock. Major fortified city in Edom. The biblical references lend themselves to varying interpretations, since Sela may also be read as a common noun referring to rock country or wilderness. Judges 1:36 refers to a border of the Amorites, though some commentators change this to Edomites. Amaziah of Judah, captured Sela and renamed it Joktheel, according to 2 Kings 14 verse 7, and then 2 Chronicles chapter 25 verse 12. Isaiah's oracle against Moab calls for action from Sela, which many commentators take to be the rocky wilderness bordering Moab rather than the more distant town of Sela. So we keep hearing about Isaiah 16:1 concerning the issue here. So let's go back to our Bible. Let's go into Isaiah. Let's go to chapter 16 and verse 1. Send ye the lamb of the ruler to the ruler of the land from Sela to the wilderness unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. So let's continue. So it says traditionally from the earliest Greek translation on Sela has been identified with Petra, the capital of Edom, or the nearby Bayara in the Wadi Musa. More recent study has placed it as Esela, 2.5 miles northwest of Basra and 5 miles southwest of Tafila. Modern translations include Sela in Isaiah 42 verse 11, God's call to joy at the coming salvation. So that's all that Isaiah seems to be indicating based on what this one scholar is trying to indicate and tell us in that thing. Not concerning Muhammad, because I don't know how Muhammad is the joy of coming salvation, though we can see how Christ would be. Now, we've went over two sources. The Brown Driver Briggs lexicon definitely still defines it as a city in Edom. The Strong's Concordance defines it as that being in Edom for some people who are still relying on concordances to be accurate dictionaries. But let's see here. According to Moutz's dictionary, we have, and let me see, just making sure that if we're in Old Testament still, we're still there because it's divided by Old and New Testament words occasions. Sela denotes a piece of geographic terrain usually characterized as a cliff or a steep rock faced on a mountain. And so now it's given the different definitions in regard to that one. So let's find the one that is referring to the specific city area that we are looking for, because most of these simply seem to be referring to Sela, as in just rock in general, which that is what it means. And so far this one doesn't have it, so we don't have that in the vines, I think, and we don't have it in there, that particular one. So let's check first of all if Vine's Complete Expository Dictionary would have a usage, and just see what it's going. So you can tell, while it may sound like I'm kind of stumbling a little bit there, point is that I haven't seen this yet for this dictionary in these two dictionaries that we're looking at. And that's why I'm using that, to be confident enough that when I look into it, it's not going to be asserting any sort of claims that we'll have from Marshall and various other different Islamic apologists on the matter. So we're going to take a look at rock here. This is in the Hebrew. And let's take a look real quick at the word that is used. It is 5553. So if we find that, then we'll use it. 553. All right. And so far, we know that Vines doesn't have it. We're going to try one more time with Mounces to see if we can't find it, because this time I'll use the Strong's number for it. If we don't get any results, then that'll be it. Alright. We get the same thing, but of course, same definition, same area, so obviously we're not going to get far. Alright, so the Vines and the Mounces weren't able to provide us the definition, but we have from Brown Driver Briggs, we've had from Holman Illustrated Bible Dictionary, we've had the Zondervan Bible Atlas, and I recommend looking into any other single Bible Atlas that is out there. So we have all these information sources that are out there, all these books that tell us where the location is and what these places are. Salah is not, according in this text, not focusing on the city in Arabia, but rather the city of Edom, the city that's in Edom. And Kedar just simply refers to the tribe of nomadic Arabs. But why does it mention it? Well, let's go over the text. Let's pull up the Bible. And let's go to verse 1. Start at the beginning. Behold, my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. He shall not fail nor be discouraged till he hath set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. So far we're hearing of this servant that shall come, and that God anoints him. He shall not cry nor lift up nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth, meaning he's not going to waste his time doing useless things. The purpose is that he's going to bring forth judgment unto truth. He shall not fail nor be discouraged till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. So remember that this is important for later on, because it's about him on his law, and the isles shall wait for his law. God's promise unto him. Thus saith God, the Lord, he that created the heavens and the earth, or he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it, he that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walketh therein. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare before they spring forth. I tell you of them. So, God the Lord thus saith, he that created the heavens, he's created these things. He's called these people into righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep them, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. So, this person that's coming is a light of the Gentiles, and will open the blind eyes to bring them out of the prisoners from prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. Alright? So this person is going to come and liberate. And because of that liberation and to truth, we read, as a result, sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth, ye that go down to the sea, and all that there is therein. Sorry, yawning a bit. And all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof. Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice. The villages that Kedar doth inhabit, let the inhabitants of the rock sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give glory unto the Lord, and declare his praise in the islands. Now notice, this is where we're getting at. Kedar and the rock, or Sela, are not trying to tell us location of the prophet. Nowhere is that anywhere indicated that that's what it's about. It's about people in these areas, not just in Kedar and Sela, but from the end of the earth, or the ends of the earth, meaning everybody will be shouting praise. Ye that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof, every piece of geographical land where people reside will be praising. But it follows and talks about certain other people, because of how big and large the area is. The villages of Kedar will also be involved in this praise. The people of Sela will be involved in this praise. And then says, let them give glory unto the Lord, and declares praise in the islands. The utilization of Kedar in Isaiah have already been used elsewhere within Isaiah. And so that's why it uses and narrows it down on this particular one, because it's used in cities that have already been named. But if you want to still indicate that somehow this is Muhammad, then you are committing, according to the Muslims, shirk. Because then it calls this person, saying, the Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war, and she shall prevail against his enemies. Now, some people try to say, well, no, it's the Lord, it's Adonai, it's not that. Look it up. If you go to the Hebrew, in fact, we'll have a Hebrew right here, and we'll pull it up. So, let's see here. Westminster Leningrad Codex. So, right here, we have our word. And for those that need to know where it's at, the particular Hebrew word is Hebrew 3068. And we have here the Y, the Yod, the Ya, and there's the little two dots there that help us with the pronunciation. Ya. And we have the Wa, so depending on how you want to do it, Yahweh or Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. So right here, you have your Hebrew word here in Isaiah chapter 42, verse 13. It's not Adonai, It's Yahweh. It's Yahweh. However you want to pronounce it. Yahweh. So, the Lord shall go forth. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. And people tried to, honestly, this is what was said, is that in this video, they take the phrase, the Lord shall, and just simply say, and the Bible of Isaiah, chapter 42, Isaiah describes that Muhammad will go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He did this, and I can't tell if he obviously can't be this ridiculous, because it's right there in the very beginning, the Lord shall. And he cuts it off saying that Muhammad will go forth as a mighty man, and he shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. But notice that describes Yahweh, the Lord. Why is it that in some cases they decide that it's perfectly fine to be deceptive in certain situations, in certain circumstances? So this is where the problem gets to be, and this is why people like Marshall and various other Islamic apologists cannot consistently make a case for Muhammad from this unless they are going to want to tell us that it is to be building up shirk towards Muhammad. Because that's what it ultimately, logically leads to. Now, I, of course, can't do one thing that Marshall kept trying to ask for during this time was for us to provide a Muslim scholar who says that Isaiah chapter 14 or Isaiah 42 verse 11 says that Kedar and Sela do not refer to Arabia. Number one, I believe it's referring to Arabia within Kedar concerning the Arabian tribe, but Sela is not. And that's because of what the scholars of the Hebrew and Semitic world say. Not my problem. So, that being said, we need to really be considerate about what is happening here and what is going on in light of the context. And when we insert ideas that it's referring to a Arabian city, then that is basically no different than trying to take and this is the same kind of line of argumentation. So when someone says you have the word Allah, and in the Hebrew it means mouse, so that means when we say Allah Akbar, we are saying Allah is a mouse. Or no, not Allah, but Akbar means mouse. Sorry, got the terms mixed up there. But even then, we could still go with the Allah phrase, because there's some people like J. Smith and others that try to say Allah is the moon god because the moon god was named Allah, or that there was some god that was there that had these daughters named Alat and whatnot. And so that's an argument to consider. But I don't buy into that, because that is inserting ideas that some of these people probably wouldn't be too familiar with. And so when I look at Salah, I don't try to insert ideas that are foreign to these people. Instead, focus on where it says that Salah refers to the context of the region or the city in Edom. You say anything else other than that, then you are committing some very bad history and shows you really need some help within your historical research. So, that being said, I don't really think there's much for us to talk to on the matter, because I was expecting Marshall, honestly, to get in here, but he says that he's at work and that he is not able to come in, and so it just seems at this point he's just going to be able to keep talking on Discord. So if y'all want to go check him out on Discord, he's having the conversation on that. So, that being said, thank y'all for tuning in. This has been a short episode of Theological Discussion, but we do what we can to simply just get the information and the Word of God out there and to refute bad arguments. So, shame that this argument is still being used, even in light of my video on Isaiah 42, even in light of Islam Critiques video on Isaiah 42, as well as various other people that are Christians and that have brought up the issues of Isaiah 42. So, they just need to read the scholarship, they need to read and study the Bible and interpret it with proper hermeneutics and exegesis, and focus on what would be to exposit on the Word of God, to exposit on Isaiah 42, and get the conclusions that we get because of how we used hermeneutics to exegete a text, exposited on it, and relied on scholarship that indicates the location of who the people are of Kedar and where is truly Sela, and it's in Edom, and that's a fact. We know there's an Edom in Arabia, but there's also there is a Sela in Arabia, but there's also the Sela of Edom. So, hope this helps and benefits y'all and edifies y'all. Thank you for your time, but until then, this has been RC Apologist. Y'all take care, everybody.